That's Wabu. Sawubona Yisoli. Sawubona. Sawubona means I see you. That's another greeting that Bantu people do. I see you. I see you. Sawubona. Sawubona Yisolili. Yisolili, remember, is another name, is the proper name for Israel in Bantu. Yisolili, the isolated ones. All right, beautiful people. It is Saturday. I need to go back and put my right there. All right, y'all. It is Saturday, May the 16th, 2020, day 147, and we are picking back up the story we started yesterday and where we ended at 4th Ezra chapter 9. So today we're reading 4th Ezra 10, 11, and 12. All right, remember a story was being told about a woman who had been praying for a child for many, many years, for at least 10 years, and Yahuwah actually granted to her. So she's going on telling a story about her son because Ezra saw her weeping, and he was asking her, "Woman, why are you weeping?" All right. Okay, so chapter 10 is 59 verses. Chapter 11 is 46 verses, and chapter 12 is 51 verses. So it's going to take about 20, 30 minutes to get through this. All right, y'all. And so it came to pass. Hold on. Matter of fact, let me read the last 3 verses of the last chapter, just to actually the last 5 verses. Okay. Chapter 9. He saw the woman wailing and crying, and Ezra said, "And I said unto her, What ails you? Tell me. She said unto me, I, your servant, have been barren, and have had no child, though I had a man 30 years. And those 30 years I did nothing else day and night, and every hour, but make my prayer to El Elyon. After 30 years, Elohim heard me. Your handmaid looked upon my misery and considered my trouble, and gave me a son, and I was very glad of him. So was my man also, and all my neighbors, and we gave great honor unto El Shaddai, and I nourished him with great travail. So when he grew up, and he came to the time that he should have a woman, I made a feast." And this is where we start today. 4th Ezra chapter 10. And it so came to pass that when my son was entered into his wedding chamber, he fell down and died. Then we all overthrew the lights, and all my neighbors rose up to comfort me. So I took my rest until the 2nd day at night. And it came to pass, when they had all left off to comfort me, to the end that I might be quiet, then I rose up by night and fled, and came hither into this field, as you see. And I do now purpose not to return into the city, but here to stay, and neither to eat nor drink, but continually to mourn and fast until I die. Then I left the meditations wherein I was, and I spoke to her in anger, saying, "You foolish woman above all other, see you not our mourning, and what happened unto us? How that Zion, our mother, is full of all heaviness and much humble, mourning very sore. And now, seeing we all mourn and are sad, for we all are in heaviness, are you grieved for one son? For ask the earth, and she shall tell you that it is she which ought to mourn for the fall of so many that grow upon her. For out of her came all at the first, and out of her shall all others come. And behold, they walk almost all into destruction, and a multitude of them is utterly rooted out. Who then should make a mourning than she, that has lost so great a multitude, and not you, which are sorry but for one? But if you say unto me, my lamentation is not like the earth's, because I have lost the fruit of my womb, which I brought forth with pains, and bore with sorrow, but the earth not so, for the multitude present in it, according to the course of the earth, is gone as it came. Then say I unto you, like as you have brought forth with labor, even so the earth also has given her fruit, namely man, ever since the beginning, upon him that made her. Now therefore keep your sorrow to yourself. Ain't that something? He said, look, I'm going to do that somewhere else. Now therefore keep your sorrow to yourself, and bear with good courage that which has befallen you. For if you shall acknowledge the determination of Elohim to be just, you shall both receive your son in time, and shall be commended among women. Go your way then into the city to your man. And she said unto me, That will I not do. I will not go into the city, but here will I die. So I proceeded to speak further unto her and said, Do not so, but be counseled by me. For how many are the adversaries of Zion? Be comforted in regard of the sorrow of Jerusalem. For you see that our sanctuary is laid waste, our altar broken down, our temple destroyed, our psaltery is laid on the ground. Our song is put to silence. Our rejoicing is at an end. The light of our menorah, or the light of our lamp, is put out. The ark of our covenant is spoiled. Our holy things are defiled. The name that is called upon us is almost profane. Our children are put to shame. Our priests are burnt. Our Levites are gone into captivity. Our virgins are defiled, and our women ravished. Our righteous men carried away. Our little ones destroyed. Our young men are brought into bondage. Our strong men are become weak. And which is the greatest of all? The seal of Zion has now lost her honor, for she is delivered into the hand of them that hate us. And therefore shake off your great heaviness, and put away the multitude of sorrows, that El may be merciful unto you again, and El Elyon shall give you rest and ease from your labor. And it came to pass, while I was talking with her, behold, her face upon a sudden shine exceedingly, and her countenance glistened, so that I was afraid of her, and mused what it might be. And behold, suddenly she made a great cry, very fearful, so that the earth shook at the noise of the woman. And I looked, and behold, the woman appeared unto me no more, but there was a city built, and a large place showed itself from the foundations. Then was I afraid, and cried with a loud voice, and said, Where is Uriel, the angel who came unto me at the first? For he has caused me to fall into many trances, and my end is turned into corruption, and my prayer to rebuke. And I was speaking these words, and as I was speaking these words, behold, he came unto me, and looked upon me, and lo, I lay as one that had been dead, and my understanding was taken from me. And he took me by the right hand, and comforted me, and set me upon my feet, and said unto me, What ails you? Why are you so disquieted? Yes. And why is your understanding troubled, and the thoughts of your heart? And I said, Because you have forsaken me, and I did according to your words, and went into the field, and lo, I have seen, and yet see that I am not able to express. And he said unto me, Stand up manfully, and I will advise you. Then said I, Speak on, my Lord, in me, only forsake me not, lest I die, frustrate of my hope. For I have seen that I know not, and hear that I do not know, or is my sense deceived, or my soul in a dream? Now therefore I beseech you that you will show your servant of this vision. He answered me and said, Hear me, and I shall inform you and tell you wherefore of you are afraid. For El Elyon, if you haven't realized, El Elyon is another name for Yahuwah. He answered me then and said, Hear me, and I shall inform you and tell you wherefore you are afraid. For El Elyon will reveal many secret things unto you. He has seen that your way is right, that you sorrow continually for your people, and make great lamentation for Zion. This therefore is the meaning of the vision which you lately saw. You saw a woman mourning, and you began to comfort her. Now see you the likeness of the woman no more, but there appeared unto you a city built, whereas she told you of the death of her son. This is the solution. This woman whom you saw is Zion, whereas she said unto you, even whom you see as a city built. Whereas I say, she said unto you, that she has been 30 years barren. Those are the 30 years wherein there was no offering made in her. But after 30 years, Solomon built the city and offered offerings, and then bore the barren a son. And whereas she told you that she nourished him with labor, that was the dwelling in Jerusalem. But whereas she said unto you that my son coming into his marriage chamber, this root beer, that's a dog, that's a pit bull. Okay, go ahead. But whereas she said unto you that my son coming into his marriage chamber happened to have a fall and died. This was the destruction that came to Jerusalem. And behold, you saw her likeness, and because she mourned for her son, you began to comfort her, and of these things which you have chanced, these are to be opened unto you. For now El Elyon sees that you are grieved unfeignedly, and suffer from your whole heart for her. So she has showed you the brightness of her glory, and the comeliness of her beauty. And before I bade you remain in the field where no house was built, for I knew that El Elyon would show this unto you. Therefore I commanded you go into the field where no foundation of any building was. For in the place where El Elyon begins to show his city, there can no man's building be able to stand. And therefore fear not, let not your heart be frightened, but go in your way and see the beauty and greatness of the building, so as much as your eyes be able to see. And then shall you hear, as much as your ears may comprehend. For you are blessed above many others, and are called with El Elyon, and so are but few. But tomorrow night you shall remain here, and so shall El Elyon show you the visions of the high things which El Elyon will do unto them that dwell upon the earth in the last days. So I slept that night, and another, like as he commanded me. And that's an awesome revelation to that vision that he saw. The woman who he saw was Jerusalem, was Zion, the woman who was crying out for her children, like us. We are, according to Ezekiel, what chapter is that? The chapter with the valley of the dry bones. Like if we read that vision and we see it, down under it, I don't know, at least all the times that I heard it, I never heard it in a way like I read it, how it says. They always talk about the valley of the dry bones and flesh and sinew coming upon the bones and the dry bones rising from the dead or whatever. But it actually tells you that the dry bones are Israel, and we are literally dead in our graves. But there's going to be a resurrection of the dead. That's what the resurrection of the dead is, according to Ezekiel. It's Israel waking up, remembering who she is. That's the great resurrection. I'm like, I just saw that differently when I read it the other day. I'm like, wait, what? And I had to read it again. So if you get a chance, refresh yourself. Go read the chapter. I forget the chapter. I'll post it down here. Let me see. Make myself a note to post it down here. Y'all got to go read that and read it. Read the whole chapter, Valley of Dry Bones, in Ezekiel. And read the interpretation, Yaya. Read the interpretation of it, and it says that that's the resurrection of the dead. Israel rising up, waking up, remembering herself, and returning home. That's happening now. There's a great resurrection happening as we speak. We are waking up. Our people are waking up, remembering who they are. All right. Chapter 11, 4th Ezra. Then saw I a dream, and behold, there came up from the sea an eagle which had 12 feathered wings and 3 heads. And I saw, and behold, she spread her wings over all the earth, and all the winds of the air blew on her, and they were gathered together. And behold, I beheld, and out of her feathers there grew other contrary feathers, and they became little feathers and small, but her heads were at rest. The head in the midst was greater than the other, yet rested it with the remnant. Moreover, I beheld, and lo, the eagle flew with her feathers, and reigned upon the earth and over them that dwelt therein. And I saw that all things under heaven were subject unto her, and no man spoke against her, no, not one creature upon earth. And I beheld, and lo, the eagle rose up upon her talons, and spoke to her feathers, saying, Watch not all at once, sleep every one in his own place, and watch by course. But let the heads be preserved for the last. And I beheld, and lo, the voice went not out of her heads, but from the midst of her body. And I numbered her contrary feathers, and behold, there were 8 of them. And I looked, and behold, on the right side there arose 1 feather, and reigned over all the earth. And so it was that when it reigned, the end of it came, and the place thereof appeared no more. So the next following stood up and reigned, and had a great time. And it happened that when it rained, the end of it came also, like as the first, so that it appeared no more. Then there came a voice unto it, and said, Hear you that have borne rule over the earth so long. This I say unto you, before you begin to appear no more. There shall none after you attain unto your time, neither unto the half thereof. Then arose the third, and reigned as the other before, and appeared no more also. So it went with all the remnant one after another, as that every one reigned, and then appeared no more. Then I beheld, and lo, in process of time, the feathers that followed stood up upon the right side, that they might rule also. And some of them ruled, but within a while they appeared no more. For some of them were set up, but ruled not. After this I looked, and behold, 12 feathers appeared no more, nor the 2 little feathers. And there was no more upon the eagle's body, but 3 heads that rested, and 6 little wings. Then saw I also that 2 little feathers divided themselves from the 6, and remained under the head that was upon the right side. For the 4 continued in their place. And I beheld, and lo, the feathers that were under the wing and I beheld, and lo, the feathers that were under the wing thought to set themselves up, and to have the rule. And I beheld, and lo, there was one set up, but shortly it appeared no more. And the second was sooner away than the first. And I beheld, and lo, the 2 that remained thought also in themselves to reign. And when they so thought, behold, there awakened one of the heads that were at rest, namely, it was in the midst, for that was greater than the other 2 heads. And then I saw that the other 2 heads were joined with it, and behold, the head was turned with them that were with it, and did eat up the 2 feathers under the wing that would have reigned. But this head put the whole earth in fear, and bore rule in it over all those that dwell upon the earth with much oppression. And it had the governance of the world more than all the wings that had been. After this I beheld, and lo, the head that was in the midst suddenly appeared no more, like as the wings, but there remained the 2 heads, which also in like sort ruled upon the earth, and over those that dwelt therein. And I beheld, and lo, the head upon the right side devoured it that was upon the left side. Then I heard a voice which said unto me, Look before you, and consider the thing that you see. And I beheld, and lo, as it were a roaring lion chased out of the wood. And I saw that he sent out a man's voice unto the eagle, and said, Here, I will talk with you, and Elyon shall say unto you, Are not you it that remain of the 4 living creatures, whom I have made to reign in my world, that the end of their times might come through them? And the 4th came, and overcame all the beasts that were past, and had power over the world with great fearfulness, and over the whole compass of the earth with much wicked oppression. And so long time dwelt he upon the earth with deceit. For the earth have you not judged with truth, for you have afflicted the meek, you have hurt the peaceable, you have loved the liars, and destroyed the dwellings of them that brought forth fruit, and have cast down the walls of such as did you no harm. Therefore is your wrongful dealing come up unto El Elyon, and your pride unto El. El Elyon also has looked upon the proud times, and behold, they are ended, and his abominations are fulfilled. And therefore appear no more, you eagle, nor your horrible wings, nor your wicked feathers, nor your malicious heads, nor your hurtful claws, nor all your vain body, that all the earth may be refreshed, and may return, being delivered from your violence, that she may hope for the judgment and mercy of him that made her. Last chapter for today, y'all. 4th Ezra chapter 12. It's 51 verses. And it came to pass, while the lion spoke these words unto the eagle, I saw, and behold, the head that remained, and the 4 wings appeared no more. And the 2 went unto it, and set themselves up to reign. And their kingdom was small, and full of uproar. And I saw, and behold, there appeared no more, and the whole body of the eagle was burnt, so that the earth was in great fear. Then awakened I out of the trouble and trance of my mind, and from great fear, and said unto my spirit, Lo, this you have done unto me, and that you search out the ways of El Elyon. Lo, yet I am weary in my mind, and very weak in my spirit, and little strength is there in me, for the great fear wherewith I was afflicted this night. Therefore will I now beseech El Elyon that he will comfort me unto the end. And I said, Yahuwah Adonai, if I have found grace before your sight, and if I am justified with you before many others, and if my prayer indeed come up before your face, comfort me then, and show me your servant the interpretation and plain difference of this fearful vision, that you may perfectly comfort my soul, for you have judged me worthy to show me the last times. And he said unto me, this is the interpretation of the vision. The eagle whom you saw come up from the sea is the kingdom which is seen. You know what? I was about to say that. It's kind of sound like Daniel's dream, doesn't it? Listen to this. And he said unto me, this is the interpretation of the vision. The eagle whom you saw come up from the sea is the kingdom which was seen in the vision of your brother Daniel. See, if you read a lot, look, I don't know. You know how you read stuff, you don't take in everything. But as I'm reading it out loud, just about to say the name. When you read it out loud, sometimes you hear it differently because you're not like reading quietly, but you're reading and you're also hearing at the same time. So now different things pop out at you that you didn't catch before, so, but yeah, I was like, yeah, this definitely sounds like Daniel's, and I was going to make that comment, but I just kept on reading, for the sake of being sidetracked for a little while about Daniel's vision. Okay, but all right. Verse 11. The eagle whom you saw come up from the sea is the kingdom which was seen in the vision of your brother Daniel, but it was not expounded unto him. Therefore now I declare it unto you. Behold, the days will come that there shall rise up a kingdom upon the earth, and it shall be feared above all kingdoms that were before it. In the same shall 12 kings reign, one after another, whereof the second shall begin to reign, and shall have more time than any of the 12. And this do the 12 wings signify which you saw. As for the voice which you heard speak, and that you saw not go out from the heads, but from the midst of the body thereof, this is the interpretation, that after the time that kingdom there shall arise that after the time of that kingdom there shall arise great strivings, and it shall stand in peril of failing. Nevertheless, it shall not then fall, but shall be restored again to his beginning. And whereas you saw the 8 small under feathers sticking to her wings, this is the interpretation, that in him there shall arise 8 kings whose times shall be but small, and their years swift, and 2 of them shall perish in the middle time approaching. 4 shall be kept until their end begin to approach, but 2 shall be kept until the end. Whereas you saw 3 heads resting, this is the interpretation. In the last days shall El Elyon raise up 3 kingdoms, and renew many things therein, and they shall have the dominion on the earth, and of those that dwell therein with much oppression, above all those that were before them. Therefore are they called the heads of the eagle. For these are they that accomplish his wickedness, and that shall finish his last end. And whereas you saw that the great head appeared no more, it signifies that one of them shall die upon his bed, and yet with pain. For the 2 that remain shall be slain with the sword. For the sword of the one shall devour the other, but at the last shall he fall through the sword himself. And whereas you saw the 2 feathers under the wings passing over the heads that is on the right side, it signifies that these are they whom El Elyon has kept unto the end. This is a small kingdom and full of trouble, as you saw. And the lion whom you saw rising up out of the wood, and roaring, and speaking to the eagle, and rebuking her for her unrighteousness with all the words which you have heard, this is the anointed which El Elyon has kept for them, and for their wickedness unto the end. He shall reprove them and shall upbraid them with their cruelty. For he shall set them before him alive in judgment, and shall rebuke them and correct them. For the rest of my people shall he deliver with mercy, those that have been pressed upon my borders. And he shall make them joyful unto the coming day of judgment, whereof I have spoken unto you from the beginning. This is the dream that you saw, and these are the interpretations. You might have to go back and read this over again a couple times for all that to soak in. Like, this is amazing. Okay. This is the dream that you saw, and these are the interpretations. You only have been meet to know this secret of El Elyon. Therefore, write all these things that you have seen in a sefer, and hide them, and teach them to the wise of the people, whose heart you know may comprehend and keep these secrets. But wait here yourself yet 7 days more, and it may be showed you whatsoever it pleases El Elyon to declare unto you. And with that he went his way. And it came to pass, when all the people saw that the 7 days were past, and I did not come again into the city, they gathered them all together from the least unto the greatest, and came unto me and said, What have we offended you, and what evil have we done against you, that you forsake us and sit here in this place? For of all the prophets you only are left of us. Hold on. For of all the prophets you only are left us, as a cluster of the vintage, and as a candle in the dark place, and as a haven or ship preserved from the tempest. Are not the evils which are come to us sufficient? If you shall forsake us, how much better had it been for us if we had also been burned in the midst of Zion? For we are not better than they that died there. And they wept with a loud voice. Then answered I them and said, Be of good comfort, O Israel, and be not heavy, you house of Jacob. For El Elyon has you in remembrance, and El has not forgotten you in temptation. As for me, I have not forsaken you, neither am I departed from you, but am come into this place to pray for the desolation of Zion, that I might seek mercy for the low estate of your sanctuary. And now go your way home, every man, and after these days will I come unto you. So the people went their way into the city, like as I commanded them. But I remained still in the field 7 days, as the angel commanded me, and did eat only in those days the flowers of the field, and had my meat of the herbs. And that, my beautiful people, is our reading for today. Like, this gets better and better. We're going to come upon a part. I don't remember if it was here or if I was reading in Baruch, but it talks about Yahuwah. Yep, it's here. When we get towards the end, he talks about destroying Babylon, Mystery Babylon or whatever, or the Great Babylon, the daughter of Babylon. But it also talks about and calls her by name, Asia. So I'm sitting here thinking because I was reading ahead and some of the stuff, I said, wait a minute. That sound like what's going on in China and all that, and what I'm like, wait a minute here. Like, we know this the time, but it blows me away that this is already here, what's going to happen. And even some of my dreams that I've had, like last year, about this place being invaded and seeing China and Russia, but it seemed like Russia had got the hand over Russia had the upper hand over China. Like, it's like they came here and invaded. But what I saw is that our people was being handled very carefully, and Russia was they were bringing a separation between, like, our people. What I saw in the dream, they were bringing a separation between the Negro people and China, who had been here. And so they were handling China roughly, like roughing them, like pushing them. They were separating us, but they were very careful not to touch us. They were just guiding us. Y'all need to go that way. They were trying to, like, get us out of the land, and they were trying to, like, get us to a train. Y'all need to go that way. And they were, like, herding us like cattle. And I looked down my street and I saw a whole group of black people coming down the street. The Russians weren't touching them. They was just like, y'all gotta go. Y'all have to go. Get out of here. Go that way. But they were rough handling the Chinese people. So, but that was that dream. But I brought it up because we're going to get into some stuff where it talks about Asia. And Asia hasn't changed. Everybody know what Asia is and who Asia is, right? We're talking about them. All right, so that was our reading for today, beautiful people. Chapter 10, 11, and 12 of 4th Ezra. It is day 147. and it is May the 16th, 2020, Saturday. And I remember to post the chapter of Ezekiel in there about the Valley of the Dry Bones. Make sure you read it all because it gives the vision and it gives the interpretation of the vision, you know, if you haven't already read it. So let's go ahead and do this blessing, which is found in, that's right, Numbers chapter 6, verses 22 through 27. And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto Aaron and unto his sons, saying, On this wise shall you bless the children of Israel, saying unto them, Yahuwah bless us and keep us. Yahuwah make his face to shine upon us and be gracious unto us. Yahuwah lift up his countenance upon us and give us his peace. And they shall put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them. All right, beautiful people, I love y'all, and I will see y'all bright and early, 7:30 in the morning. Peace.